All right, before I get started, I have to give all thanks and praises unto our power, the power of Israel, not the power of any other nation. And seeing that I don't come in my own name, what is his name? Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Warakwadash. Peace, blessings, and much respect to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, on down to the rest of the elders who rule well within Israel. Salutations to the hopeful elect throughout the four corners of this whole entire earth, no matter where, whom they may be, or what they may look like. Pushing out this purified truth to the rest of the church who believe as well. You men who may not be teachers or prophets, you women, sons and daughters also. And the water to Yahweh Shai, because without him enduring and going to that cross for the nation of Israel and the nation of Israel alone, none of this would even be possible whatsoever. All right. Let's start my lesson off in the book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction, or a sick destruction. Babylon is a polluted place. This place is corrupt. GMO foods. The woman has been turned to a weapon primarily against the Israelite man. Okay? You're oppressed with your job. You might work a business. You're still being oppressed. You still have to pay taxes. Okay? You can still get sick. You have all these different STDs running throughout this world, right? You're dealing with people who plot, who are looking to destroy others based off of envy, okay? This is a corrupt place. So if we set our mind and our hopes in Babylon, well, you're going to be destroyed right along with this place. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. So right now, we're not in our place of rest. We're not in our quiet place, being Jerusalem, where we will be at peace. Okay? Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. So this place is unclean. It's unclean in every way possible. Okay? The morals of this society is totally corrupt. People look at abominable foods as luxury items. People see seafood as unlawful foods. And there's plenty of seafood that are lawful, which is the real seafood. Okay? But you'll look at crab, shrimp, many unlawful creatures as a delicacy. Okay? Because you've been destroyed. Right along with this place being polluted, it has destroyed you because you have set your heart and soul on this society. All right? You're supposed to come out of this place spiritually. This isn't speaking of, going to buy or going to receive some passport, buy you some time out of Babylon, take a vacation for the rest of the time remaining. That's not really what it's speaking of, which if you do that, that doesn't mean the Lord still can't destroy you. Okay, if you're of his elect, it's prophetic that if you're here, you're going to be delivered from here. This is speaking of coming out of Babylon spiritually. Because morally, whether it be sexually, according to what the Most High says, this world is contrary to the Most High. And that's the ways of this world, is corrupt. Revelations chapter 18 and verse 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mighty with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils. So this place is going to fall. It's become the habitation of devils, the habitation of wickedness. This place is corrupt. So seeing that it's corrupt, the future for this place is going to be a devastating blow. Okay? Total annihilation. All right? Babylon the Great, or America the Great, is fallen. Is fallen and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Because excuse me, America's done a good job spreading lies all throughout the world. Okay? When you come here to America, these people really believe that Yahweh Shai, who they call Jesus Christ, is a so-called white man. Okay? And then they do a good job projecting that to the rest of the world. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. So all these nations are drunk because they're following after America's philosophies, America's ways, America's ideologies. And it hasn't done any good for them. You have other countries trying to mimic America so much that even their families are failing. Their societies are failing. Okay? For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. You know, going into different business deals. America, you know, being how this society is ran by Esau, breaking all sorts of deals, creating loopholes. Okay? The merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Excuse me. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. So we have to come out of America spiritually. Why? Because this is not our rest. Because this place is polluted. It will surely destroy you. So there's no point of putting your heart and soul into something that is polluted and will destroy you. That's likened unto you looking at a woman because she looked good, all right? But she's a straight up demon, all right? She's full of disease, right? She has all these different body counts, okay? She's only seeking to take you down, but you're looking at her thinking, you know, she fine though, you know? Well, that's America. America might look good to the eye to some, but when you really get to know her, you find out, you know, she's really a demon, man. This society is evil. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. So when the elect get delivered, they're going to hear an actual voice from the outer atmosphere. Okay, in the Hebrew, saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins. So the elect are going to be ravished out of Babylon, taken up into a gigantic spaceship through the deliverer himself, being Yahweh Shai, and they're going to watch with their eyes the destruction that's going to come to this society. Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins. So you have to withdraw yourself from the ways of this world, because if you don't, you're going to be destroyed, because now you're a partaker of her sins. And that you receive not of her plague. So you don't want to go down with this place. The Lord is telling us to separate. Now let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 2. In verse 36. Flee the shadow of this world. Receive the joyfulness of your glory. I testify my Savior openly. So I'm out here in the open testifying of Yahweh Shai, because I am not ashamed of him. All right? We have to flee the shadow of this world. We have to flee the darkness of this world. This world is covered in gross darkness. Okay? And we have to separate ourselves from the wicked desires, the wicked things that mainly everybody else is doing. Okay? Everyone else, they're looking at things totally different than how the Lord looks at it. We have to see things how the Lord sees it. And coming into this ministry, that's what the Lord is going to do. And that's why over time you find yourself sighing and crying. You find yourself complaining about the wickedness of this world because unlike everybody else, you've been called out of it. You see the nonsense. But most of these people, they're too corrupt to understand that this society has to go down. It has to be destroyed because it's unrighteous. As much as people complain and they mourn, they still want to see this place go on because people are suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. Flee the shadow of this world. Receive the joyfulness of your glory. I testify my Savior openly. So we have to flee the shadow of this world. Okay, a shadow represents darkness. Okay, now let's jump to the book of Luke chapter 1 and verse 76. Let me see. Luke chapter 1 and 76. And thou, child, shall be called the prophet of the highest. For thou shalt go before the face of the Lord to prepare his ways, to give knowledge of salvation unto his people by the remission of their sins. And being in bondage to your sins, we're out here to tell you that to be free from that, you have to come to Yahweh Shai. You have to receive him. He's the truth. He's the light. He's the way. And if you try to sneak up any other way, well, you're a thief, man. And if you're a thief, it's not going to go well for you. Because if a thief tries to break in someone's home and the person of that home is alert, they may put you to death. So you can't come up no other way. Doing so, the Lord will put you to death, man. To receive life, you have to come through that doorway, being Yahweh Shai, to give knowledge of salvation unto his people by the remission of their sins, through the tender mercy of our power, whereby the day spring from on high hath visited us, to give light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of peace. So we have to flee the shadow of this world. The shadow of this world represents death. It represents darkness. We have to flee from those ways, those corrupt ways. Let's read verse 79 again. To give light to them that sit in darkness. So many of our people who are in darkness now, they'll wake up to this light. But the majority of them are going to remain in it. To give light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of peace. And we're being guided through the word. Okay? We're being guided and cleaned up through this word. We've been taken out of darkness, but most people remain in it. Okay? They're not fleeing the shadow of this world. Okay? Now you have to apply the scriptures to see what the Lord wants from you. Okay? Or to do what the Lord wants from you. 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 18. For when they speak great swelling words of vanity, they allure through the lust of the flesh, through much wantonness. Those that were clean escape from them who live in error. So we have to flee from those who are in error, those who are in darkness. We have to flee the shadow of this world. We have to escape it. And we also have to escape those who are in darkness, who are in error, by separating our company from them. Now, if you go to work, seeing you have to work around these people, you don't necessarily have to be mute when they come and talk to you. You tell them, I don't need to talk to you. I'm over you. You don't got to be like that. Okay? But you don't need to be going out of your way trying to kick it, hang out, be beer buddies, right? Using a wicked individual of this world as your wingman when you go and step out at some bar or something, trying to pick up on women. That's ridiculous, man. We are to be separated from people. All right? You got to watch who you let in your company. Watch who you let in your house. Because if they're not telling you the truth, if they're not of this gospel, if they're not of this truth, you have to be weary of them. All right? For when they speak great swelling words of vanity, they allure through the lust of the flesh. Through much wantonness, those that were clean escaped from them who live in error. So we have to escape those who live in error by coming into this ministry and withdrawing ourselves, not doing the things that they do. We have to flee the shadow of this world. And a part of that is fleeing these people who are in error. Okay? Not trying to be buddies with them. All right? We have to flee the shadow of death. And America itself is a shadow of death, man. Psalms chapter 23 and verse 4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Well, we have to flee the shadow of this world. And we're ultimately going to flee if we're of the elect when Yahweh Shai comes to deliver his elect. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. The rod and the staff, well, that represents this word. Okay, and the things written aforetime were written for our learning, so that we may be comforted. All right? The rod and the staff, well, we're being comforted through the words of the Heavenly Father. We're the sheep being guided by the rod and the staff. The sheep that were once lost in darkness, man. But we've come to the light. We've been awake for a very small time in comparison to that length of time we were asleep. Matthew chapter 4 and 16. The people which sat in darkness saw a great light. So the Israelites, at one time we were calling ourselves, oh, I'm a black man, right? We weren't called black till 1681, right? Calling yourself Negro, colored. And it's funny how our names just kept changing over time, just speaking on Judah alone, right? Well, all these were bywords. These were not the names given to us from the Heavenly Father. Okay, these were names given to us from this world, from our oppressors, from those who conquered us. And through them conquering us, they've been allowed to, for a short time, rule. For a short time, oppress us. For a short time, spread their lies and their madness, and have corrupted the minds of many of our people. All right? The people which sat in darkness saw great light. So now the Lord has awakened us by giving us this truth. And to them which sat in the region and shadow of death, light is sprung up. So this light is eventually going to hit all the Lord's elect. They're going to come out from that shadow, be in this place of death, following the ways of this society. Okay? And a lot of our people, they think, well, I'm good. You know, I've made a change. But then guess what? They still have hate in their heart for their brother. They still have hate in their heart for those who believe just like them. They're shady. They're unsupportive. Okay? They're not encouraging. The Lord is going to deal with men like that as well, because guess what? They're still in the shadow of Egypt. They're still in the shadow of death with no real light in them. They just assume they have the light because they're being deceived. Now let's go to John chapter 2 and 11. Let me see. It might be 1 John. 1 John chapter 2 and 11. But he that hateth his brother is in darkness, and walketh in darkness, and knoweth not whither he goeth, because that darkness hath blinded his eyes. So you have men in this truth. They think they're in the truth because they can go down, you know, deep history. They can break down, you know, certain scriptures that are just real deep, real hard to understand for most people. But they're horrible at being a brother. They're only a brother selectively. They're selective brothers, right? Like you have selective hearing, you have men who are selective brothers, man. They're only a brother if they personally deem you as a brother. They don't give a damn how the Lord looks at you. They don't give a damn who you could be in the spirit. It's about emotion. It's about whether they like you or not. Okay? And I can assure you, many of the prophets were hated. So you not liking a brother, well, you might have to be careful because he might be a prophet. Because many of the prophets, hell yeah, many of the prophets have been hated. So that's just what we have to deal with. But if we're being hated by our own brothers, well, there's a good chance they're not brothers, man. There's a good chance they're not really in this truth. They only think they are. But he that hateth his brother is in darkness and walketh in darkness. And you have men who hate you because you're not in their camp or you're not of a camp. Men will try to recruit you when you tell them, no, I'm good. They'll hate you for that. You know, all you want to do is come out here and teach, serve Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai in hopes to be saved. But you have men, it's like, no, you have to join the clique, homie. If you don't join the clique, we not brothers. No, this is about the truth. Those who are of the truth, that's the church. Not those who are of GMS or ISUPK or IUIC or whatever other acronyms out there or the Sakari. It's about those who are in the church of Yahweh Shai, being those who are speaking this truth, those who believe in this truth, those who believe in the true names. You know, all these things show whether or not you're of the same church. Okay? But he that hateth his brother is in darkness, and walketh in darkness, and knoweth not whither he goeth, because that darkness had blinded his eyes. Okay? Now let's go to 1 John 3. 1 John 3 and verse 11. For this is the message that ye heard from the beginning, that ye should love one another. And a lot of you men, you're not doing that. Okay? You got men who are being treated unjustly, unfairly, who the Lord is finding favor in, and you yourself, you're going to be rejected. Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one and slew his brother, because Cain was in darkness. All right? All because Abel was obedient and made his sacrifice according to what the Lord had required. Cain did what he wanted to do. And because of his rebellion, he gets mad and slays his brother. That's wickedness, man. Not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother. And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous. Marvel not, my brethren, if the world hates you. So guess what? There's even going to be brothers who might hate you unjustly. They might still be of the elect, but then again, they might not, because they're still in darkness, man. We're supposed to be children of the light. We're supposed to be sons and daughters of the light. All right? We shouldn't be hating each other without just cause, man. Matthew 25 and verse 43. I was a stranger, and ye took me not in. Naked, and ye clothed me not. Sick, and in prison, and ye visited me not. So you have to watch how you treat brothers. Because if you outcast a certain brother, it's likened unto you doing that to Yahweh Shai himself. Because Yahweh Shai is in that man. Okay? But you're looking at this man like he's not important. Like he's not special. And he might be one of Yahweh Shai's favorites. Okay? I was a stranger, and you took me not in. Naked, and ye clothed me not. Sick and in prison, and ye visited me not. Then shall they also answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee an hungered, or athirst, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister unto thee? Then shall he answer them, saying, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye did not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. So even if a brother is the least of the brethren, okay, you treating him dirty is like you treating Yahweh Shai dirty. Whether it's the least of the brothers or one of the greatest of the brothers, man. You treating that brother wrong, that's likened unto you treating Yahweh Shai wrong. And you have to be careful, because that might be a symptom you're not really of this church. You're not really of him. Okay? You think you are, but you're in darkness. And those who do that to their brothers, that's likened unto you, being ashamed of Yahweh Shai as well. All right? Mark chapter 8 and verse 38. Whosoever therefore shall be ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him also shall the Son of Man be ashamed when he cometh in the glory of his Father with the holy angels. So if you're ashamed of Yahweh Shai and his words, he's going to be ashamed of you. So if you're ashamed of your brother without cause, okay, you're treating your brother unfairly, the Lord is going to get you for that, man. You're not going to be looked at as innocent, okay? The Lord is not going to take that kindly. So a lot of you men who claim to love Yahweh Shai, you hate your brother directly to his face, who you see in the flesh. But then you claim to love Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, who you have not seen in this body. Okay? So really, that's hypocrisy. So we have to make sure that we flee the shadow of this world, which also goes into the ways of this world. And the ways of this world is also hating your brother or hating your sister without cause, man. All right? Saying that ain't no black woman going to make it, that's hating your sister. That is not biblical at all, whatsoever. Because the righteous women of the past, they're back here today. Now, they might still be living wickedly. They still got some silliness to get shaken out of. But those women are back here today as well, man. The scriptures talk about the elect lady. Okay, so we have to love our brothers and our sisters, man. With our sisters, we have to use a little more patience because they're the weaker vessel. They're stuck in all this foolishness. You know how women are, man. But at the end of the day, we have to apply the scriptures when dealing with our people. All right? Matthew chapter 7 and verse 19. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore by their fruits you shall know them. So if you're hating on your brother without cause, well, you are showing what type of fruits you are bringing forth. Obviously evil fruits. So how could you be of Yahweh Shai and you're bringing forth evil fruit by hating your brother who's trying to receive the same reward as you? Okay? He's already catching all this hell, going through all this different affliction, and then here you come trying to add to that man's burden. All right? The Lord is not going to take that lightly, man, whatsoever. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. And a part of doing the will of the Father is loving your brother. Whether he's in your camp or not, if he's teaching this truth, okay, if he's showing that he's doing his best to do what Yahweh Shai asked of him, why aren't you showing love to this brother? Okay, and love doesn't just go into just, being affectionate, but if a brother needs to be rebuked, why aren't you rebuking him? Okay, not rebuking him in the sense of trying to be a hater, but rebuking him because you sincerely want him to make it. You're sincerely trying to show him, thus says the Lord, not thus says how I feel. All right? You're trying to pull him out the fire. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils? And in thy name have done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So all you men, you got hate in your heart for your brother without cause. You may have been out here, and you performed a miraculous thing in front of the eyes of people. All of your viewers saw it, okay? But then again, you're not of the elect. You might have been out here, for years, doing what you're supposed to do in terms of doing the work, but you had hate in your heart for your brothers, man. Or you had hate in your heart for a specific brother that did nothing to you without cause. You just don't like this man. And this man is of Yahweh Shai. That can get you penalized, man. That can be a sign that maybe you're not of this. Because I used to take on the impression like, you know, brothers is going to accept me like I accept them, seeing that we're teaching the same thing. We have the same belief, but no, that's not the case. Because a lot of these men are not the elect. That's why. Let's just keep it real. Now, we can't say if we're of the elect or not ourselves, but the Lord gives us a good idea, man. Okay, and we can tell a tree by its fruit. And according to a lot of you men's fruit, you're not of the elect. And a lot of you, you're not concerned with repenting. You're not concerned with trying to do better. You're just riding on autopilot thinking how you're moving is going to get you to the kingdom. And the Lord has already rejected you. Okay? You're out here fighting, beating the air, man. You're shadow boxing. You're not even really doing this thing. All right? A lot of men think they're safe because they're out here teaching. Or they've been doing this for years. And the Lord's going to reject them when he returns. Okay? Proverbs 27 and verse 19. As in water, face answereth to face, so the heart of man to man. So we have to self-reflect. Self-reflection is highly important. Self-reflection is needed to make sure that we're not on the path of being a castaway. To make sure we're doing what Yahweh and Yahweh Shai wants of us. Because we ourselves, we're not even worthy of salvation. But you over here rejecting this man for no reason. He's done nothing to you. He gives you a shalom, you say nothing to him. Okay? You have certain men in camps, you know, they'll go around, you know, doing the arm shake, giving a shalom, but then certain brothers will look at another brother and kind of give him that shady look and pretend like he don't see him. You know, these things happen, man. And then when the brother will go up to him and be like, shalom, he'll be like, oh, my bad, I didn't see you. You saw him. You just wicked, man. A lot of you men have crept in unawares. You're playing like you're really about this, and you're not. You're real good with, you know, fooling many, but you can't fool the Lord. All right, if you hate your brother, I'm going to tell you right now, you're not in this truth. As in water, face answereth to face. So you see your reflection in the water. So the heart of man to man. So just like you see your reflection in the water, you need to ponder on yourself. You need to reflect on yourself. We need to reflect on ourselves. Because you have certain men, they'll get offended when you say things like, you got to get it correct, such and such. And they'll be like, well, what about you? Of course that concerns us too, man. Okay? Yeah, man, I'm not even going to say nothing. As in water, face answereth to face, so the heart of man to man. So we need to self-reflect because the end is closer than what we know. Yahweh Shai is right at the door, and we want to make sure that we make it, man. We have to constantly self-examine. Romans chapter 13 and verse 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. So if you're asleep, wake up, okay? If you're hating your brother without cause, you're still asleep, and you need to wake the hell up, man. You need to shake up out of that deep sleep. You're not in this truth. I don't care how many scriptures you know, how long you've been in this ministry, you're in GMS. Who cares? You hate your brother without cause, you're not in the truth. All right? So if you're in that spirit, you need to wake up while the day is still here, while the doors of repentance is still open unto you. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. So we think it's close, but at the same time, we really have no idea how close it is. Okay? See, when that chip is implemented, when the mark of the beast comes, it's going to be a quick moment. It's not going to be some played out time in history that's going to last 5, 10, 15 years, man. It's going to be a short time. Okay? And we're very close to that window of time. All right? salvation, Yahweh Shai is right at the door. He himself is the door. The door is at the door. 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse 11. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved. So you're looking at all this around us, you know, you can step outside your house, step outside your job or whatever, you look outside, man, all this is going to be annihilated. All this is going to be destroyed. And America has some beautiful places, man. There are some beautiful sights to see here in Babylon, but you know what? It doesn't matter. The Lord is still going to wipe them off the face of the map. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be? In all holy conversation and godliness. So what manner of person ought we to be? We have to show love to our brother. We have to be brotherly, man. Because really that's important. When Yahweh Shai was here, what he did was the ultimate example of what it means to be a brother. Here it is. Yahweh Shai is the head. He's the elect of all the elect. And he's washing the feet of his disciples. But you have a lot of punk ass men in this ministry. They wouldn't even give you $5 if they saw you starving, man. They wait for you to say something. They'll see you over there dying out, and then they'll tell you closed mouths don't get fed. Okay? You have a lot of fake ass niggas in this truth. Fans, fake ass niggas, fanboys. All right? You perpetrating like you real, and you hate your brother, the same one who Yahweh Shai loves. The Lord don't like you type of niggas, man. All right? Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness? So we should be in holy conversation, not talking about popping some man's wife or how easy I could go slide into this dude's woman because she looking at me. I could easily just take her, you know, or how to break into somebody's house, or how easy it would be to take this dude's necklace, right? Or, you know, how powerful Amun Ra was. No, man, we ain't having talks about wickedness, man. We don't give a damn about none of that BS, bro. All right, we have to be in holy conversation. Even in our vanity, we have to make sure we are staying in holy thought processes, holy conversation. Whether you watching a movie, whether you with a woman, whether you out on vacation, you might be playing a video game. Okay, we should always understand, hey, the Lord made this moment possible. It's because of the Lord I'm able to do such a thing. Okay? We should always be reflecting on the Lord, man. Reflecting on righteousness. Reflecting and having holy conversation. Looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of the power, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Nevertheless, we according to his promise look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. So there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. Now it's going to be the same earth, but that's speaking of the Israelites being taken up into them chariots and coming down as New Jerusalem. The old heaven, being Esau's kingdom, is going to be wiped away. And John the Revelator, he had this revelation, which really he's not John the Revelator. John was revealed these things by Yahweh Shai. He didn't reveal these things on his own, okay? But John was given certain visions, and seeing that certain visions that he saw, he didn't fully understand what he saw, but we understand these things now, okay? Nevertheless, we according to his promise look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. And that's going to be in our kingdom. We're looking forward to that, man. Revelations chapter 21:1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the power out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Okay, so reading verse 1, it says, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth. So that's speaking of the Israelites coming down out of them chariots. Okay, for the first heaven and the first earth, being Esau's world, were passed away, and there was no more sea. And sea also represents people, because there's going to be a lot of destruction concerning those who get caught up in that nuclear fire. Okay, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the power out of heaven. So speaking of Israelites coming down from a huge chariot out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. So I had a vision when I was younger, and it was about the earth passing away. All right. And in that dream, it was also about Esau. It was about Esau coming down upon our people with great wrath, and also the earth passing away. Okay. And as the earth was in the sky, it was real huge, but it was moving in slow motion away from the earth itself. I was standing on earth while looking at the earth in the sky. The earth had smoke coming out of it. There was no fire, just smoke, but it was slowly ascending away from me. Okay? Because the earth was passing away, which is what I understand now. I didn't understand it back then. Matter of fact, that dream was so heavy, my mom, when I was young, made me write it down and put it on the refrigerator. Okay, so that dream has always been something that stuck with me. But then I also saw a dream of a huge chariot. It looked like it was maybe, I don't want to say the size, but in terms of color, that maybe it was beryl. It looked like it was made of beryl stone. Okay, it looked like a dark green chariot. Okay, but it was ascending over a mountain. Now, I didn't see Israelites coming down from it, but what I perceived from that was New Jerusalem about to come down upon Mount Zion, which is what I believe. I believe when we get taken up out of here and when we come down from them chariots, I believe we're going to be descended upon Mount Zion. We're going to be descended on the top of a mountain. Okay? That's my belief. And I heard Revelations 21:3, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of the power is with men. Men are leaders, not women. Okay? And he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And the power himself shall be with them, and be their power. And the power shall wipe away all their tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. So all of these things are going to be done away with, right along with Esau's kingdom. Let's go down to verse 7. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his power, and he shall be my son. Okay? So we have to endure so that we can receive the reward. All right? Verse 10, and he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me the great city, holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from the power. And this is why I believe we're going to be brought upon Mount Zion, on the top of this mountain, from a huge chariot that Yahweh Shai is going to deliver his elect out of. Read this again. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain. So when I saw this vision, I saw this great mountain, and there was a huge chariot descending over it, but this chariot looked like it was made of beryl stone. Like it was just a dark colored chariot. It wasn't black, but maybe like a dark brown or maybe a dark green. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from the power. having the glory of the power, and her light was like unto a stone, a more precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. So our kingdom is going to be far out, man. It's going to be decked out. All right? But before that can happen, America has to be destroyed. And that's what we're soon about to witness. So I'm going to close it with this in Isaiah chapter 34 and verse 2. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He had delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. So when Yahushua returns during World War III, these nations are going to stop fighting among themselves, turn against him, and they're going to lose horribly. All right? And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved. So all their military aircraft, their drones, whatever they use to fight against the Lord, all of that's going to be useless. And all the hosts of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll from that nuclear blast, being that mushroom cloud. And all their hosts shall fall down as the leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a falling fig from the fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Speaking of those missiles being sent from one side of the earth, traveling all the way to the other. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, and upon the people of my curse to judgment, being Esau, Edom. For the sword of the Lord is filled with blood, because it's coming to bring judgment. It is made fat with the fatness. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea, being America today. There's going to be a thermonuclear holocaust, man. It's going to be like one gigantic human sacrifice, man, where all those, starting with Edom, who get caught up in it, are going to be totally destroyed, man. Okay? Just like the Lord used to require a sacrifice from us when we would sin. Well, this place is going to be turned into a big human sacrifice when the Lord burns multitudes of people. Okay? And the unicorns shall come down with them, the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. So America is going to be destroyed because of the controversy against his people. All right, all your satellites are going to be destroyed. All your military tanks are going to be destroyed. All of your, just everything's going to be destroyed here in Babylon, man. It's not going to be a thing anymore. So before that new heaven can come, this first kingdom has to be dissolved and wiped away, which is soon to be. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up and give all thanks and praises unto our power, the power of Israel, not the power of any other nation. And seeing I don't come in my own name, what is his name? Yahweh, Bahashum Yahawashi, Bahashum Wa Rakakwadash. Until next time, Lord willing, Shalom.